Afternoon. Signing day 2024. So fired up about the young man we added to our program today and our future of Pirate Nation and future Pirates. You know, signing days obviously changed over the years. This year got moved up to the first Wednesday in December, which is kind of unusual. It'd been like the third week of December, so you'd had a little bit more time to prepare for this, and guys had a little bit more time maybe to flip their commitments or finish their season. We got some young men that still playing this weekend in the state championship and playing in the playoffs, things like that. But it's just different, and you know, from the recruiting calendar standpoint of what that's been. But certainly fired up about these young men, and certainly what's going to how our roster is going to develop over the next month in preparation for 2025. But just feel really good about this group. Most of this group has been committed to us since last summer, and we were able to hold on to them throughout the season and throughout the coaching change. And young men that all our staff was very familiar with, got to know very well, had relationships with, and we knew all along, you know, when we're going through the process here with the coaching change that these guys, if we had a chance to stay here and stay as Pirates and stay in Greenville, that these young men would stay here as Pirates too. So it was some uneasy time for them, but you know, for the most part, once everything got announced last week, they were all in and excited to be here and definitely fired up to have them. So I'll just start with the offensive side of the ball and kind of go through each young man, just kind of give you a little background on them. The first one is Chaston from Lake Travis High School. You know, Coach Baker, super excited about him and been down and watched him play after our Tulsa game. You know, dual threat quarterback, certainly thinks he fits our offense. Threw for 47 touchdowns this year, ran for another 16 in his career. But fired up by him. Chaston's been up a couple times to see us play, and back in the summer as well. And then Coach Baker had been down to him to see him play, and you know, kind of the Texas connection there as well. So at Lake Travis High School, really good football school. So Eddie Love is a running back out of the Panhandle in Niceville High School. I actually saw Eddie last winter when I was down there recruiting the Panhandle myself, and happened to run across him. Didn't know if we'd have a shot at him at that time. Track guy, I think he's like a 10.7, 10.6, 100-meter track guy. You know, he committed to us on his summer OV. Very explosive running back, has a chance to do some things for us, get out in space, make guys miss, and has the home run speed as well. So super excited about Eddie, and you know, he's a highly recruited kid that we feel really good about being able to land. Jonathan Stokes is the old lineman here in North Carolina, local product. He was at our game last Friday versus Navy. Big body, you know, a big explosive kid that can certainly move bodies, move guys around, and do some things there. So he's played center. He can play guard, probably play tackle if we need him to. But feel really well and feel really good about him. Just out of Randall High School. Kendall Walton is another old lineman out of Lamar High School in South Carolina. We kind of got on him late, didn't have him in the summer. He was a season visit, means he came up to a game and did an official visit then. So, you know, big body, just trying to add some size there to the O-line and some younger guys to kind of fit in with our O-line room. Probably the biggest surprise of the day or of the week, I should say, is a local 252 young man, Johnny Williams. Johnny, you know, during some of the process there, I had committed to JMU. Just wanted to make sure that he kind of built some relationships with another coaching staff just in case, you know, Coach Roberts, Coach Baker, and myself weren't here. So he made that move, and then when everything got announced last week, Coach Roberts kind of stuck in there with him, and I was able to flip him back. So that was a huge one. And Johnny, I told him on the phone the other night on FaceTime, I said, I remember you out here as a sophomore at our 7-on-7 camps and doing some things out there, just the plays you're making. I'm still trying to recruit him to play corner, but I don't know if Coach Baker and Coach Roberts are going to let that happen. And he's certainly a playmaker at receiver. I think plays quarterback for those guys down there and does a little bit of everything. Super explosive player, dynamic with the ball in his hands, and you guys know all about him just being a local kid. Connor Hodge, the second of the Hodge brothers that we can officially talk about now, is a nominee for Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky. You know, he'll be here in January with his brother, so excited to have those two guys, you know, him and his brother here as well. But Connor's, you know, play a little bit of everything up there. As an athlete, quarterback, receiver, but he'll play receiver for us. And they're playing in the state championship this weekend and should win the game. So a lot of these guys I've already talked about, Chaston, Eddie, Jonathan, Johnny, and Connor, are all mid-year guys. I think all in all, we got like a dozen or so of these guys are mid-year guys, which means they'll be here in January and start working out with our guys and kind of go from there. Caleb Morrow is up the road at Apex High School, a tight end. Big body tight end. I think me and his parents were at Western Carolina in school at the same time, so kind of a connection there. But big physical tight end, blocking tight end that we can use in the running game, as also has good hands. He was actually at our Navy game last week as well, so fired up about him and everything he's doing there. Stephen Collier's a tight end out of South Carolina. We got him listed as an athlete. He's a baseball player as well, and he's certainly a big-bodied athlete that can run, make plays all over. Could probably play defense if we need him to, but I think his spot is playing tight end and be able to split out and do some things like that. He's probably more of a DeCerio Riles type guy than he is an inline tight end. Cayman Reynolds will be the third tight end. So we did sign 3 tight ends today. Cayman being the third one out of Sonoraville in Georgia. Maybe the longest of the 3. Big body. Sonoraville's kind of the northwest Georgia area. He's a playmaker down the field. Go up and get the ball, do some things there. But I kind of see him being maybe a more inline tight end guy in the future. May not start out that way, but he'll grow into that certainly. On the other side of the ball, DJ Spear out of Columbia High School in Atlanta. He's got good length. He'll play safety and sandbacker for us or nickel for us. Kind of a guy that we thought was a very good athlete in camp. Got to see him in camp and got to see him in the summer, spring ball as well last year. And DJ moves around really well, longer body. Him and his dad, when they come up on the visit in the summertime, great people. Just thought they fit us really well. And, excited to have DJ in the program. Bernard Lackey. Bernard's stepdad played here, was a Pirate, and so just to have Bernard in our program and have that Pirate connection was pretty special. He's a DB safety from Newton High School, just outside of Atlanta. Fired up about him. Feel like he can come down and play in the box, play in space. I would compare him to more of a Jamarly Riddle body size, body type kid. Angelo Ross is a corner out of Mount St. Joseph in Maryland, kind of just above the Baltimore area there. Good length. I think he leads the school, maybe broke the school record for the most picks in school history. Just does a really good job of tracking the ball, playing the ball in the air, and got some length and speed. Saw him this past summer at 7-on-7 camp up at Maryland. Me and Coach Mont and I were up there and watching him move around and play the game and do some things in camp. So I think that's the key thing about evaluations, and seeing these guys live. And we watched every one of these young men play live this fall, but we also saw them last spring in spring ball, and then we tried to see them in camp in the summer, whether it's at one of our camps or a camp we travel to, just make sure they fit what we're looking for, fit our needs athletically, and just make sure they're going to be good for our locker room. Another corner is Tavius Horn. He's from down in the South Florida area, Atlantic High School. Returner as well. He plays on all the special teams, really aggressive at corner and doing some things there, kind of running around, making plays. So very excited about Tavius. Darion Horsley is kind of the one kid we didn't know about was going to sign today. And we were hoping we'd land it, but he was committed to us early in the summer. Did his official visit here in the summer, him and his mom, from Newton, or from Newnan area, East Coweta High School, which is Coweta County. Darian and his family, awesome people. Coach Rico Zachary had a good connection with the family. Coach Jules did a great job recruiting Darion. He had actually flipped to Mississippi State and flipped to the SEC, maybe late summer, early fall, and stuck with them. And then we got him to flip back just this past weekend and feel really good about his length. He's going to remind you of a Siobhan body size, long athlete, high jumper, those type of things. Played both sides of the football at East Coweta High School. So fired up about him. He'll be here mid-year as well. Dominique Moody is a D lineman from North Cobb High School, right down the road from Kennesaw State. Doesn't know exactly where he's at. Know his high school coaches really well. Dom is originally, I think, from Ohio, and him and his mom moved down to Atlanta when Dom was in middle school. But a good-sized kid, long arms, great pad level, very athletic on the D-line. Coach Tesh got a chance to go down and see him last spring. He came up here for his OV in the summer and then Coach Tess got a chance to go watch him again this fall. So fired up about Dom and how he's going to add value to our D-line room. Josiah Dwyer is at Marlboro County High School, although he was at Clinton as a junior. So he's just up the road here. Originally a North Carolina kid, just went down there for his senior year because of coaching change there. Really good size. Mom Dorothy and the whole family there, super supportive. And, she's a high school teacher. But he'll be a mid-year kid as well. And I think he's going to do big things for the Pirates. Dylan Worthen is an IMG Academy kid, so we had some connections there with some Pirates who were coaching there. He's originally from Georgia. Been at IMG the last couple of years. Extremely athletic. He'll play on the edge for us. He's a mid-year enrollee as well. But Coach Zachary did a great job recruiting him. Bends really well, long arms, just outgoing kid, so fired up by him. Last couple of guys are our linebackers. Jordan Miles is a kid out of Grissom High School in Alabama, which is Huntsville, Alabama. Super smart, high football IQ, long, athletic, can play sideline to sideline. Dad played at Cal back in the day. He was a safety there. Jordan plays basketball, runs track as well, so he'll enroll in summertime. But just fired up about him. I think brother plays college basketball as well. I got a chance to see him play back in October. Went down and watched him play, and I thought he should have been playing both sides of the ball. Was doing a really good job on defense. The last one is Kendrick Davis from Charlotte, Palisades High School. Long, can run, play sideline, two-time All-Conference. He'll be here in January. Brother plays basketball at Gardner Webb. So Kendrick, been here several times. Was for a game last summer for an OV. I went down and watched him in spring ball last year. Probably was right in the middle of a practice watching him play and did some really good things there. So excited about his athleticism and length. So that's our recruiting class. Fired up about those guys. Excited about that group. And not only this high school group, but what we're going to continue to add to this 2025 roster through the portal and go from there. And just excited about the future of Pirate football and what we can do moving forward. So, any questions at this time?
Coach, just talking to some of these guys, throughout the process, they mentioned you in particular, but obviously the assistant stayed in touch with them, and a couple of decommitments, but for the majority of the classes, stay connected, committed throughout this uncertainty. What does that say about this group?
Well, this group is a solid group as an overall, and individuals, and it's hard. I kind of thought for this, like the way the timeline fell out for this. And just for high school seniors in general, you moved up to the first Wednesday in December. Well, they don't find out who the head coach, East Carolina is going to be till last Wednesday. There's not enough time to come back for a second visit, so they were up in the air about a lot of things. And some of them were making backup plans and, hey, what if this happens? What if that happens? Which you can certainly understand. They weren't ready to go and play for somebody they didn't know, they didn't have a relationship, so they were kind of, hey, to make sure I have a relationship here with this coach, relationship there with this coach. But at the end of the day, they decided they wanted to be Pirates and play in Dowdy Ficklin, and I think it says a lot about them as young men. So fired up about that, and glad they stuck with us, and glad they're going to be Pirates.
What's a common characteristic within this group that really attracted you to these players for them to be Pirates?
I think overall, one is their commitment level that they had to East Carolina, and how they stuck with it and stuck with us and willing to kind of push through and see it all the way through. So that was the first. And from a physical standpoint, I think it's the athleticism and just the speed that you're adding, the size you're adding, the length you're adding to the class.
Coach, for Johnny Williams out of Havelock, you called that maybe the biggest surprise of the day that you find out here. What was specifically the thing that you were able to do to be able to flip him back from JMU to here?
Just the fact, Coach Roberts, the relationship he had, and with that mom and with the brother and with Johnny, and Coach Baker as well, played a huge part. Obviously JMU had built that relationship and snuck in there and during the coaching change, and they had an end to go flip him the first time, and we were able to have the end of that relationship when things were solidified here to flip him back. So that was fired up, and just he knew all about Dowdy Ficklin. He knows how special this place is and what East Carolina means. And growing up as a kid here in East North Carolina and having an opportunity to play in Dowdy was pretty special to him. So that part made it easy too.
Coach, getting basically half, if not more, I guess more than half the class in early. I mean, how much does it help to really see if they can help you all right away through?
People ask me all the time, what's the biggest difference between a kid coming in January and a kid coming in the summer? Because, if a kid's coming in the summer, he's getting here mid-June. And then, he has about a couple weeks of weight program. He gets to July 4th, a couple more weeks, and then he's in fall camp. And he's drinking through a fire hose, to be honest. When you come in January, you get a whole month of training, 2 months of training in the weight room, and then you're going through our installs, maybe an install through walkthroughs, install through spring practice. So you're getting so far ahead, in the weight room, so far ahead with your installs, and then the classroom as well. I mean, you're getting a whole semester of education and college classes that you're not having to worry about, hey, it's game time, getting ready for a game plan. You're just worried about class, you're worried about the weight room, you're worried about, spring ball, and not, hey, I got to get ready for NC State or BYU or Memphis or Tulane or whoever it may be at that time. So fired up, those guys are coming in early. I think that's huge.
Did some relationships with some of these recruits grow stronger when you were named the interim head coach, or maybe last week when you were officially named the head coach?
I saw a lot more smiles. I know that, just through the Zoom calls and just talking to these young men, and just they were relieved. And I think that you'll continue to grow relationships, and we'll continue to grow relationships with guys on our roster currently, because I think that never stops. And getting these guys here and continue to mentor them and be here for them, and I think it was a comfort level for the parents as well, just knowing like, hey, Coach Harrell, Coach Baker, Coach Roberts, Coach Tash, whoever it may be, still going to be there and be in place and be able to take care of their sons.
How will your role change as a recruiter going forward? I guess you'll be kind of the closer now as the head coach.
I told somebody the other day, especially when you step away from the defense, I said, I'm going to get bored, but the one thing I got to be like, it's got to be my baby now is recruiting. And whether it's the portal, whether it's the high school recruits, whether it's parents, I said between that and then just going out and being, talking to donors and that part of it too, those got to be where it's totally different than being the defense coordinator. When you're the defense coordinator, you're worried about scheming people up, X and O, and getting guys in the right spot and all those types of things. And I'll still be worried about that stuff and still kind of probably, stick my head in there too much, but this has got to be my baby, and this has got to be where, we make our money, but so to speak, because it's the minute you get lazy in recruiting is the minute you're going to see your roster decline and fall apart or not have the great talent. And we got to make sure we give ourselves a chance to win. And a lot of times that's, I told somebody I've been busier this week than I was, 2 weeks ago getting ready for North Texas. And it's really because of these young men that signed today, anybody that has announced they're going in the portal and our current roster and kind of managing all that roster management, I call it. And that's got to be what we're preparing for 2025. We still got one more game. Our job's not done yet. It's one more time to go out and play in 2024 in a bowl game. But this week's kind of been nice just to focus on 2025 roster and all that. And I told our seniors, like, hey, understand, we'll shift some thoughts here to 2025 in our roster and recruiting and those type of things. But don't think we're not concerned about you guys and going to finish this thing off the right way.
The length you mentioned kind of with the corners and the DBs, I guess pretty much everybody besides Tavia is 6 foot and above. So how much does that help you just adding that length on the back end?
It means I'm looking up to everybody, right? Yeah, I think anytime you can add length. I mean, you think about the guys who played here really, and play the next level. Julius Wood, Siobhan, obviously. Those guys are long, can run. And I think that's kind of what this class reminds you of those type of bodies. And, hopefully those type of bodies develop into Julius Woods and Siobhan Revels and those type of things. But can't coach length. You can do a lot of, be the best coach in the nation, but you can only make them so tall and so fast. And we've added that here.
Do you like, this sign they moved up? I don't know, like it just seems kind of pros and cons.
I agree. I don't know yet. The thing about college football right now, like, we don't sit on anything and, hey, let's ride this out for a couple of years and see how it's going to be. The portal window is continuously opening, closing, changing. High school recruiting is now the different sign-in date. You had 2 sign-in dates, or we're going to go back to 1 sign-in date. We're going to go back to a summer. It's like we never sit on anything and just let it play out for a couple of years and really figure out the pros and cons. We're ready to make a change based off going through it one time. So who knows? I'm sure by next year it'll change again, and we'll be back to the summer. We'll go to a summer signing day, and I don't know if that's good or not. So, you know, I think somebody said it a couple years ago. Let's let it play out for a couple years, and only like make changes every 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, something. Have a set. So, I'm not sure that'll happen. Not sure anybody's going to listen to me. Obviously, first time head coach and new head coach, but you know, I certainly think at the AFCA, I might raise my hand and just ask why a few times. But I do think, like, this is an awesome recruiting class, but let's think about a program out there that doesn't have a head coach right now. Who are those guys signing to today? You know, obviously, you know, they want to sign a scholarship, you know, but are they signing to a coach they don't even know? Or, you know, FAU, they're signing to a coach that just got there that they have never met. So I feel bad for the high school prospects and high school recruits just overall, and I think they're kind of getting left out a little bit. And I said that early on. I said that back early November with our class. I said these guys, you know, in some ways are getting left out, and I'm glad it worked out for these young men the way it did. Super excited for them, and glad they're Pirates.
Do you see any other high school signees in the coming days, or is it come to be determined?
So they have 48 hours to sign. Once Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. starts, they do have 48 hours to sign. You know, so certainly an open window. You know, if somebody was to come across our desk and we just couldn't turn away from, I think we definitely have to hop on that. So you can never say never. But you have this opportunity, then you obviously have another opportunity in February.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Go Pirates.